and welcome to Tommy Talks TV, the place to be to build great love relationships. I'd like to start by saying a very big thank you. Thank you for all your likes and your shares and your comments on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Instagram. I really appreciate you because you're helping us spread the message further faster. So thank you very much indeed. Now today I'm going to be taking one of your questions, and it goes like this. My boyfriend and I have been together for a little over a year. When we first met, he was big, but it wasn't an issue at first. As I got to know him, I started noticing his poor eating habits and how big he actually was. But I liked his personality. We share the same beliefs and values, and I enjoy his company. Being with someone who exercises and cares for their health from the inside out is important to me because it's what I do. I am slim myself, and I make sure to eat healthily and to stay active. I talked to him about his weight, tactfully, and he agreed that he wanted to start exercising and losing weight. He's been doing it for about 6 months now, and he told me that he's lost 16 kilos, which is great. He recently asked me if I could see us getting married. I said yes, that he has the qualities I want in a husband, and he does. But what I didn't tell him was that I have doubts because of his weight. I want my husband to be fit and physically attractive to me. Is it realistic for me to believe that he will lose weight? I know we are equally yoked spiritually, but are we possibly unequally yoked physically? He is a good man and we are compatible in other areas. I love him and want to be with him, but at the same time I'm afraid that he won't lose weight. I can't be with someone long term who is overweight or obese. It is a turn off for me. Now this question you've raised is a very interesting one, and ultimately, the truth of the matter is that the choice of whether you decide to get married to him or not is your choice to make. But I'll provide a few pointers that I think will help you in your thinking process. Now, the first thing I would like to say is this. I always encourage people, when you choose somebody to get married to, don't look at your potential spouse as a makeover project, because that is always a recipe for disaster. I always say that when you want to get married to somebody, you need to look at them as they are and ask yourself, if this person never changes, will I be happy married to them? Because the truth of the matter is this: human beings can be notoriously resistant to change, especially when it is change that is externally imposed. If it's change that comes from the inside, that is, if it's a change that they want for themselves, then it's different. But if it's a change that you're trying to impose from the outside, that can get very difficult, because the challenge is when you're trying to change someone, you could become a nagging wife ultimately, because you're constantly talking and complaining about the same thing, and that could make your marriage very difficult. So that's the first thing that you need to remember. Now, the second thing that I should also say is this: you need to actually establish what it is that is important to you in this relationship. So ask yourself, is this crucial to me? Because for every single one of us, before you get married, you're not going to expect to find someone who is completely perfect, but you need to distinguish between your non-negotiables and your nice-to-haves. So your nice-to-haves are things that, well, it'd be great to have that, but well, I can live without it. But non-negotiables are things that you absolutely cannot do without. So in my view, for someone to match you spiritually is non-negotiable. For someone to be faithful is non-negotiable. So the question is, for you, is the issue of being fit non-negotiable for you? Do you see it from that perspective? Because if you do, every other thing will pale in significance. Sometimes I say to people that, when we're looking for perfection in someone, there's a tendency to focus on just that one thing that we think is wrong, and because of that, we forget all the other, maybe 99% of things that might be right with that person. So you need to be honest with yourself. If you look at the whole package, does this one thing mean that you will not enjoy marriage with this person? And if so, then you need to be clear with yourself. Be totally honest with yourself. I do need to say, though, that his response to you so far is encouraging, because if this is something that is so important to you and you've shared it with him and he's been willing to make changes, he's been willing to actually, take on the habit of exercising and improve his diet, that is very encouraging. Because a lot of times when people are overweight, the reason why they're overweight is because they acquire, bad eating habits as they're growing up, and they were never really encouraged to exercise. So it may be that he's the sort of person that needs someone in his life to encourage him to eat healthily and encourage him to exercise, and he seems to have responded well so far. So It may be that he may not ever completely own his health, but if he has a spouse who has that kind of perspective, then he actually might be able to improve on his health. So I think that's something for you to think about. If he had simply said, look, I'm not going to talk about it, I don't want to discuss it, then I would have said, well, probably best for you to walk away if it's so important to you. But if he seems to be responding to you in this area, then perhaps with your encouragement, he can actually make the change that is required. Well, I hope this has helped you. If this has helped you, then please leave me a message on Facebook or Twitter. And if you've got a question you would like me to answer, then head on over to tommytalks.com/ask and I'll answer your question next time. See you next time. Bye-bye.